Hey guys, we are going to be making a purse today, and I wanted to show you how I'm doing it. I took one of my old purses and laid it down. I just used freezer paper, just like you get at the store, just regular old freezer paper, and made myself a pattern. I started out by just laying the purse down and tracing around it, and then and this is just something I know because I've made purses before, is to leave an area that you're going to be inserting a strap at the top. So that's just something that I knew. But you could also just buy a pattern. But if you didn't want to do that for one purse, I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of how to make a purse. So I'm going to be cutting 2 of these out of fabric. I'll be cutting 2 of the same thing for lining. And then I'll cut a couple for interfacing. And I just kind of sketched out a little dotted line here where I'm probably going to put a zipper pocket on the front or the back. And then I wanted my straps. I measured the strap that I had. So there's going to be 2. You want a long strap, but then there's going to be like a smaller strap over here that will have a little ring on it where the other strap will connect, and it'll be an adjustable strap. So that's how you kind of come up with the basic shape of the purse, is you just lay yours on top of it. It's even better if you can turn it wrong side out. But if you can't, just remember when you're cutting it that you want to add about 1/4 of an inch where you're going to be sewing. So, you know, if your purse is exactly this size, then you need to cut your pattern bigger. All right, and then the purse I was looking at has the bottom. It's like a flat bottom that comes around all the way up the sides, and it kind of narrows as it goes up. So you can just sketch that out. You know, measure how big the flat part is, and then the rest of it you'll just taper up till you get to the top of the purse. So this is going to be on a fold. That's why it doesn't look very long. And then I have this little thing that I cut out. That's going to be where the straps will be attached. Now, what I'm thinking is I'm using an old pair of jeans. I'm working on a denim quilt, and I would buy, you know, denim at yard sales or wherever. And I had one pair that was acid washed, and it's not really going to look good with the rest of the denim, so I pulled them out, and I've started cutting my pieces here. So just to show you. So this will most likely be the front here, and you can see because of the acid wash there was this stripe over here, but that's going to be cut up in seams, so I'm not worried about that. The back, when I cut it out, I decided I wanted this in it, and so I kind of centered it up a little bit, and just to have a little decorative back on it. And then this is the bottom, and because it wasn't going to be long enough to cut on the fold, I just cut out the bottom, which would be twice that, and then I cut 2 of the tapers, and then I'll just sew it together like this. And then, of course, here's the little tabs that I'm going to need for the straps. Now, I have seen people use waistbands for the straps, which is a great idea, except on this acid wash, you can see there's too much dark against that, and I just didn't really like the way it looked. But you can do that. And then I actually cut off 2 of the pockets because I may be using those pockets either on the inside or maybe even on the outside. And then I went ahead and cut as much as I could to make my straps. I'm just going to, you know, sew them end to end to make a long strap that way. And then I also salvaged a few of these because I may want to use some loops. And so I have 3 of those that I hung on to. Then I just grabbed out from my craft stuff, some blue zippers that I'll be using. So I just wanted to kind of give you the basics here so that the next time I see you, we'll be at the sewing machine showing you how to assemble it. Okay, so we're at the sewing machine and I have a piece of lining and pocket lining and the denim laid down here, and I'm going to sew around where I want the zipper to go. It slipped on me, but because it's a pocket lining, I'm not worried about it. And I'm going to take this to the ironing board real quick. And I just want to press those seams flat so it'll make top stitching a little bit easier when I'm ready to put the zipper in. I think I'm going to use the light zipper on the outside, even though I was using that dark lining. I'll just pull it as best I can to hide how dark the lining is. Remember, I'm just using scraps on this project. I'm not, I didn't go out and buy all of this to match. So we're going to go ahead, put the zipper in, and top stitch it down. Alright, so we've got the zipper set in. Okay, so when you're talking about zippers, which you've seen me put zippers in before, but just to kind of go over it again. If you would have cut this piece, the blue, really, really long, then you would just fold it up on itself and sew the top and sew the sides. And then from the front, you would have this pocket. But we can't do that because of the length, right? So like if I'm going to put my finger where this actually is in relation to the zipper, right here. So when you open your zipper, this is the length of your pocket. So what I wanted to do was lay my lining, interior lining of the purse is going to end up being on it like this, so that, and it'll be sewn on all sides, of course. So when you actually open your pocket, it's the entire width and all the way down to the end of the purse. So that's why this one is so short. This is just meant to be one side of it so that it wouldn't be denim. Now on this side of the bag, I had pulled off one of the pockets. So I'm just going to attach the pocket onto this side of the bag. Okay, so the inside pocket, very similar to the outside, only this piece is long. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this to the lining piece, right sides together, and I'm just going to sew a rectangle big enough, you know, that the zipper will go in, just like I did on the outside. Okay, so we've got this. Now all we have to do is cut the slit and turn it. And then I will take it to the ironing board and iron it. Alright, so now all I have to do is top stitch around my zipper. Okay, so we've got the zipper in. Now we want to flip it over and we're going to pull it up. And we're going to sew the three sides. We're not going to sew it against this. We're going to pull it away and we'll sew across the top. And then we'll pull it away and sew it down each side. So you're not going to see any seams on the lining on the inside. It's all going to be hidden. Alright, so now when you unzip the pocket from when you're inside your purse, you're going to see the lining. Okay, so we'll put this aside. Now you can also, if you wanted lots of pockets, you could, let me just grab a piece of material. You could sew just a rectangle to make a pocket, and you could either drop it down below that zipper one, or you could put it over it and sew, and then you would have this open pocket, plus inside that pocket you would have your zipper pocket. So that's something else to keep in mind. Okay, so we need to attach these. This is basically the bottom, and then this is the sides of the purse where they will taper up to the zipper. Now with this being denim, that would have been really bulky if I had just left it, you know, folded over into 3 layers of denim. So I split my seam and I just took 2 seams down each side, which I didn't use like the orange thread that they typically use on jeans. So it kind of blends in on this one, but there are 2 seams that helps to keep that nice and flat. We'll need to do the same thing to the lining. Now I can take this to the iron and iron this because it's so much lighter weight. This is basically a rectangle that I have folded in half, made out of the same material as the lining. I'm going to sew up and over about 1/3, and then I'll come over here about 1/3, sew over and down. That leaves me just a little space at the top to turn this. Okay, so now that we have that sewn, and you can see down here where the hole is, that's going to be the bottom of my pocket. But it's just going to go in here like this. And if I had enough of this denim, I would have put a little denim band across the top of the pocket, just for break it up and decoration. Because it is a gingham and has white, I'm going to I found this scrap piece of white, and we're just going to sew a little band there just for decoration and no other purpose. And I wanted to point out also that you could have, now I like the idea of denim and denim on the outside, but you could have also sewed this pocket before you attached it. You could have sewn a piece of the gingham onto it so that this would have been the inside of your pocket. If anybody would have ever noticed it, you know, that it would have been just matchy. So just a little tip there if it's something that you would want to do. Okay, and now I just want to turn this over and top stitch that down. Once you decide where you want it, you're just going to sew all the way around, and then I'm going to go ahead and put a small seam right here for an ink pen to go down into, and then I'm going to split this into 2 pockets. So really you're going to have 2 larger pockets and a small one for a pen. Can you see that little 1/4 of an inch that the white didn't quite stretch over to? I wasn't pulling it taut enough to keep it in line. I'm not worried about that because it's my purse. If I was making this for someone else, obviously I would have fixed that. Alright, so what I need to do now is just put those other 2 rows in, and our inner pocket's done. And we're going to clip this in. Now, if you are just starting out, new to sewing, then you could go ahead and sew that down. What I'm going to do is go ahead and take my lining pocket, and I'm going to put it right up there and clip them all 3 layers together and do 1 seam. But by all means, if you're new to sewing, do 1 seam at a time if you're more comfortable. Because when you do it this way, you can't really see your zipper. But if you have it clipped together good, it's going to be fine. Alright, And then what you'll be able to see is when you flip that over, you've got the lining and the outside already attached here. And now we're going to do the same thing with the other side. Okay, our zipper is in. Here's the lining side. This side, now what we need to do is top stitch it down. So you'll want to just make sure it's flat and that you are catching zipper, lining, and this, of course, and just top stitch it. Alright, so you can see we've got the zipper in. Now let's flip it to the back. Make sure everything stays smooth back there. It looks good. Alright. Okay, so there's two ways that you can do a purse. The way that we're going to be doing today doesn't require me to put right sides together on this and sew it together. I'm just going to do wrong sides together. And I just want to edge stitch it together so it doesn't come apart. And then we're going to attach this piece to the purse. Okay, so my goal was to sew very close to the edge just to keep it from shifting around. This isn't a seam that's going to be seen ever. That's just to keep it flat. One other thing about this, if you wanted, see, this is the bottom of your bag, right? So this is your side that's coming up. This is the side of the purse. If you wanted, you could cut out a piece, another piece of the denim and hem it and attach it right here and make a pocket on the sides of your purse if you wanted to. And we may do that on a purse in the future. And again, this would be a place to, if you wanted some of the gingham showing just as a decorative accent, then you could always do like we did on the inside of the purse and just put a piece of the gingham at the top of your pocket out here. Okay, but what we're going to do, we're not going to put a pocket on the outside. What we're going to do is put our denim sides together. And you're going to find the center of this. And you can mark it. I'll just grab a pen to mark it. So you just fold it in half and mark your center. And then you'll fold the denim in half. So it was just a smidge off when I cut this out. That's not quite the center. It's right here. So you would want to just line up your centers. And we're going to clip. And as we come over to the corner, you know, we'll just clip it into the corner and bring it all the way up to the top. Okay, so you can see I've clipped it all together. And just a side note here, you can use pins, of course. There's no reason to go out and buy these. However, if you make a purse and decide you enjoy it and you might want to make more, I would buy at least one pack of these clips, because when you get into this bulky stuff, they work just a little bit better than the pins do. But they're not something you have to have. That's just a FYI. So now I'm just going to sew all the way around. Okay, so you can see how it's looking. Now we're going to fold this one and find its center and match it up down here. Do the same thing. I'm going to clip all the way around and then sew it. So I will be right back. Okay, and then you just want to go around and check, make sure there's, you know, nothing ugly, nothing pleated, or any weird thing happening there. Before we turn this, though, I'm going to trim it a little bit all the way around the edges, and then we're going to bind the interior so that these are all hidden, all your raw edges. So I'm going to go ahead and trim it, and I'm just going to use the same fabric as the lining, or I may use white, I'm not sure yet. And just basically the same thing we did here on this pocket, we're going to do all the way around just to clean it up. And what that's also going to do is give just a little bit more stability and structure to this bag, so it's not just flopping over. So that's an advantage to doing the lining this way. But in the future, when we do a different purse, we're going to also do the lining a little bit different as well. But you know, I like to show you more than one way to do something. So I thought we would start out with this one, and I'll be right back. Okay, so you can see I've got the first seam sewn for the binding. All I'll have to do now is fold it over and make one more seam. So I'll see you soon. Okay, look how clean it looks now. And because of all of that, see, it gives it some structure. So there's definitely advantages to doing the lining this way. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start working on this strap. So I didn't have just one piece long enough. The denim jeans I'd cut apart was kind of cargo. They had pockets everywhere, so it was really awkward to work with. So I just trimmed out as much as I could, and I'm going to make one long strap using this. I just need to connect them all together. Alright, so I sewed a really long strap, and now I've got this piece of the hardware, that rectangle with the little center, and I'm going to fold this over like this, and then I'm going to sew this down on itself. Now, keeping this straight, we want to get to the other end and put one of these loops on, and then come back down here and we're just going to come through and then come through again. Then we have another one, and we're going to sew that down. So that's going to give us this strap that has an adjuster for how long we want to make it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and attach this. And now, last step for the strap is I have these two little straps, and they're frayed at the ends. It's not going to matter. We're going to poke these through, and I'm just going to tack them here. Now bear in mind, this is your top, right? So when I put it in, the top of my strap is going to be facing the bottom of the bag. Okay, and then we're going to pull our straps up. Now, in hindsight, I'm going to tell you what I should have done before I sewed this on was put my strap in. That way it would have been attached, and I would have just continued with that binding all the way around. Since I didn't do that, it's just going to be an extra step. I'm going to have to put some binding on that just to cover my raw edges where I'm attaching it. Not a big deal, but yeah, it's an afterthought that I'm sitting here thinking I should have done. So now we're going to go ahead though and sew this down. Okay, so what I'm looking for here is to make sure everything was caught on this side, and it is. So now, if I just take a look from the other side, so when it's turned, you can see your straps here, like so. Now, right now though, this is what it looks like in there. So we're going to put some binding over that. We're going to trim it, and then we'll put some binding over that to make it look better. Because this is so thick, I'm just going to sew one edge of the binding on, and then when I flip it over, I'm going to hand stitch it down, just because this is not my heavy-duty sewing machine. It is in the shop. This is just a regular machine, so I'm going through a whole lot of thickness of denim here. So we're just going to do one side on the machine. So there, that will clean it up quite nicely. I'm just going to put a pin in this for now. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Okay, and then we're going to put our hand in and unzip the purse again. And we're going to turn it right side out. Got a pocket on this side of the outer shell. We have this little pocket from the jeans themselves there. And then on the inside, these two pockets as well as a place for a pin. And then we have the big pocket on the other side as well. And then zip closure. This looks so plain to me when I see how cute this pocket looks that I wish I had gone ahead, goes that way, and added this pocket on top of that one. So you would have had a pocket, but then you would have also had a little zipper hidden down in there as well. If I tried to put that on now, I mean, you could obviously, but you'd have to take out seams or hand stitch it on to avoid messing up what's already inside. And on this side, we've got this pocket, so it would really mess things up if you tried to sew that on a machine, because you would be going through an existing pocket underneath. But I wish I had done that. But it's okay. It's still cute. So I'll try to get a good picture of it too. I know it's kind of hard to tell just laying here. Okay guys, so I hope you have a good week this week, and I'll see you next week.